I think the exciting thing about where we are is not anymore about every PC, but with AI, everything is going to become a computer.
Tell me more about AI PC. What is really AI PC? Do you build your own large language model?
I think building a generic model is very expensive. Training a generic model with your own data is not. When you run things locally, there is not an extra cost. It's just the PC running the application. So cheaper, faster, and more secure.
So can we talk about geopolitics? It's really crucial right now. How does it affect your business? I have to ask this question. It can be uncomfortable, but we would like to know. Are you worried about in terms of privacy or security manufacturing in China?
The Secret Sauce
สวัสดีครับผมเคนนักครินทร์และนี่คือ The Secret Sauce
What's your secret?
เปลี่ยนความกลัวเป็นความหวังเตรียมความพร้อมในช่วงเวลาชี้เป็นชี้ตายกับ The Standard Economic Forum 2024 Brave New World เศรษฐกิจไทยไล่กวดโลกใหม่สกัดทุกความรู้ปี 2025 ให้คุณก้าวทันเทรนด์โลกในเวลาเพียงแค่ 3 วันเจาะลึกเมกะเทรนด์ใหญ่เมื่อ AI ฉลาดกว่ามนุษย์ทุนจีนครองโลกสงครามยืดเยื้ออุตสาหกรรมถูก disrupt สิ่งแวดล้อมทำลายเศรษฐกิจพร้อมล้วงอินไซต์เศรษฐกิจการเมืองการศึกษาไทยจะปรับตัวอย่างไรไม่ให้ถูกทิ้งไว้ข้างหลังนี่คือฟอรัมที่คุณจะได้ร่วมฟังผู้ออกแบบนโยบายตัวจริงวางแผนอะไรคิดอะไรและได้คลุกวงในผู้นำระดับโลกและไทยมากกว่า 40 ชีวิตสุรเกียรติเสถียรไทยปานปรีพหิทธานุกรวีรไทยสันติประภพสุรชาติบำรุงสุขวิลเลียมอีไฮเน็กบรรยงพงพาณิชสมเกียรติตั้งกิจวานิชสุภลักษณ์อัมพุทธสันติธานเสถียรไทยการดีเลียวไพโรธจี๊บคลายและสปีกเกอร์ชั้นนำอีกมากมายพบกันวันที่ 13-15 พฤศจิกายนนี้ที่พารากอนหอชั้น 5 สยามพารากอนซื้อบัตรได้แล้ววันนี้ที่ซิปอีเวนต์ครับ
เวลาพูดถึงโลกของเทคโนโลยีนะครับต้องยอมรับว่าถ้าเราจะเข้าใจอินไซต์จะรู้ว่ามันกำลังจะขยับไปทางไหนเนี่ยเราต้องได้คุยกับคนที่เป็นผู้นำของบริษัทเทคโนโลยีระดับโลกวันนี้ The Secret Sauce ได้รับโอกาสดีนะครับผมได้พูดคุยกับ CEO ตัวจริงเสียงจริงของ HP นะครับ HP ถือว่าเป็นบริษัทเทคโนโลยีที่ใหญ่ที่สุดแห่งหนึ่งของโลกนะครับที่เรารู้จักกันเป็นอย่างดีก็พวก PC Printer นะครับในขณะเดียวกันสิ่งที่ผมจะได้พูดคุยกับคุณ Enrique Lores ที่เป็นคนสเปนและเป็น CEO เนี่ยผมจะคุยในหลายๆเรื่องราวที่ผมเชื่อว่าเป็นประโยชน์กับทุกท่านแล้วก็เป็นอินไซต์ที่หาฟังได้ยากนะครับเรื่องแรกเราจะคุยกันก่อนเรื่องความเป็น leadership ของเขานะครับหรือว่า journey ของเขาในการที่เริ่มต้นจากการเป็นเด็กฝึกงานนะฮะคือมาจากสเปนฝึกงานที่ซิลิคอนแวลลีย์ที่พาโลอัลโตแล้วก็กลายขึ้นมาเป็น CEO ได้อย่างไรHi, hello, สวัสดีครับ Nice to meet you. I'm Ken.
Okay, very nice to meet you.
I would like to start with a bit of your personal story, personal journey.
Sure.
You know, we share the same journey. I started as an intern in my company,
okay.
and then have risen to become CEO.
Yet.
You as well. How did you make it?
After many years. I think I was lucky that I joined the company when HP was growing very fast, and I had the opportunity of working in many different businesses, many different departments, and really learn along the way. Also, I had the luxury of working with incredibly strong leaders that I learned a lot from, and the combination of the company growing, delivering on the results, learning from great people.Open a lot of opportunities, and over time I was able to do more complex or bigger jobs, and eventually became the CEO.
Okay, what is your biggest lesson that you can share with us?
Always never be limited by what you think you can do or by what you know what to do. Because if you aspire to do something much bigger, eventually either you get there or for sure you will get further than if you don't.
Okay.
And this is something I share always with the new employees and with younger employees, that they really need to aspire to do whatever they want. I think another big lesson is you need to enjoy what you do, because we spend a lot of time working, and enjoying what you do is really not, every job has good things and bad things.
Sure.
Everybody likes the good things. Enjoying a job means you need to enjoy solving the problems, enjoying the bad things of the job, because they are anywhere.
It's really difficult.
This is what you really need to make sure you're ready for, and that you're going to be willing to spend a lot of time.
Okay.
And if you do, you will enjoy, and things will go much better.
Okay, amazing. I love that. So moving to the company's history, HP has a rich history, rich background.
Yes.
Started in a garage and then evolving into a global tech company. So can you highlight some pivotal moments?
Sure. Yes. And you're right. HP started in a garage, and we still have the garage.
Oh, really?
And we use the garage to bring customers to see them, kind of the history of the company.
Okay, it's a
where
museum
the
right
company
now.
started. It's kind of a museum.
Okay.
And it's a very special place, because you can really see how from something really small you can make something much bigger. I think there are many pivotal moments in the company, from the time the first computer was introduced in the 60s, or when the first printer was introduced in the 80s, or when the company split almost 10 years ago. All these are moments that define how the company has been evolving. But I think probably as important as the changes are the things that have not changed. And I think the fact that we continue to be focused on innovation, in understanding how technology can make the life better for our customers, how our values and how we do things is as important as what we do. And the fact that we care, of course, about growing the business, delivering profit, but we also care about having a positive impact in the environment, having a positive impact in the life of our customers, in the life of the communities that we serve. That's very important. The fact that we care about our employees and about making sure that they can grow, and they can grow in the company, they can learn, but also they can combine their personal lives and their professional lives. All these that are the values the company had 80 years ago when it started continue to be as relevant now as they were in the 40s when the company was born.
Yeah, let's focus on separation. I would like to talk about this, because I think you led the team responsible for splitting company to HP and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. So what have you learned from that? And what was the business theory behind that?
Yeah, let me start with the business theory. The business theory was focus will be important for the companies. And because the company was very big, we were selling from a $30 cartridge to a $100 million data center. It was clearly too broad to really be able to dedicate enough attention, especially from the board perspective, to the different segments. So focus and the value of focus was the first driver of the separation, and it clearly worked. And second was, from a market value perspective, Wall Street values much more smaller companies where they can understand more what is doing than big conglomerates.
Okay.
And this also proved to be true. And if you look at the value of the shares now compared to where they were before, it has significantly increased.
It's more agile.
It's more agile, and also for investors, it's easier to understand, because you have more visibility of the different businesses. And in our case, in the case of HP Inc., has clearly been a big success. The value of the shares has grown, our share in the market has increased, we have created new categories, and we see a lot of opportunities for growth that we are very, very pleased with.
Okay, shifting to today, in your recent keynote, you emphasize this word, realistic optimism. So can you elaborate more about this, and what are the key trends HP is focusing on?
Sure. I think if we look at the opportunities that the company has in front of us or in front of it, we are really excited about what can we do to grow in multiple segments. And at a very high level is the combination of two big things, two big trends, and two big problems that we see in the world.
Okay.
The two big problems are, from one side, companies, all our companies want to increase the productivity of our teams. And we want people to do more with less. All of us as individuals want to have more freedom and want to be able to combine better our professional lives and our personal lives. And these two things are creating tension. Companies want productivity, you want more freedom and ability and flexibility. We think that hybrid work and AI are going to help us to make these two things work together. And being the company that allows that, that enables that, is the big opportunity that we see ahead of us.
Okay.
And we think that because of the portfolio of products that we have, PCs, printers, video conferencing room, headsets, cameras, which is everything you need to, anything that you need to work. Combining with AI that will help us to improve the productivity of the users, we really have an opportunity of really being the company that simplifies and makes that real.
เรื่องที่2ครับเราจะคุยกันเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีหรือว่าถ้ามุมมอง HP ก็คือ business เขาจะ growth ไปทางไหนคีย์เวิร์ดสำคัญในวันนี้คือ AI PC AI device หลังจากนี้ AI มาแน่แล้วก็จะเข้ามาตอบโจทย์ทั้งในแง่ของ productivity ทั้งในแง่ของ hybrid work หรือว่า work life balance ที่เขาพูดถึงว่าจะทำยังไงให้เราสามารถมี way of work ที่พัฒนาต่อไป
Okay, talking about personal computers and printers, do you think the future of PC and printer still bright? I mean, people nowadays don't use PC or printer as much anymore.
I think it is very bright, and especially if we think about PCs, people use more now PCs than they used some years ago.
Oh, really?
They spend more time.
Okay.
PCs have become much more relevant to do work, and there is the number of hours people spend in front of the PCs continues to grow. And if we think about what AI is going to do and how AI integrating it into the PCs is going to allow PCs to be even more relevant, allow even more productivity, really is going to make things really bright for us. If you think about what technology has done in the last years, has really simplified the process to create knowledge. When the first PCs were created, it was all about capturing more data and processing more data faster. The web allowed people to get access to information. And the process to generate knowledge is you start with data, then you have to information, and then you go to knowledge. AI is going to simplify and accelerate the process to create knowledge from information. And by integrating AI into our PCs, into our printer, it's going to dramatically accelerate that. So the value we will create is much higher, the productivity impact will be much bigger, and this is why we are so excited about the opportunity ahead of us.
Okay, tell me more about AI PC. What is really AI PC? How does it work and why does it matter?
Yeah, let me start with from why it matters. Today, we are starting to experience AI mostly from the cloud.
Right.
You open an application, it's running on the cloud, and you can do many amazing things. With an AI PC, you can do the same thing locally. So rather than having to go to the cloud, the language model will be running locally in your PC.
Okay.
And this has three major advantages. Well, a big advantage is that if you want to use the model with your own data, with your private data, you don't need to upload the data to the cloud. So it's more secure. If you're a small company that wants to analyze your sales data with a model, you don't want to put your sales data in the cloud. You want to do it locally. This you will be able to do with an AI PC. Second big advantage is speed. When you interact with AI in the cloud, there is a long time between the time you ask the question, you get the question, and if you ask multiple questions, there is a lot of latency. Running things locally is much faster. It's immediate access. So it's more secure, it's faster, and then finally it's cheaper.
Cheaper?
When you run things in the cloud, it's expensive. Especially if you're a company that has to build its own cloud model, it's a very expensive model. When you run things locally, there is not an extra cost. It's just the PC is running the application. So cheaper, faster, and more secure.
But if you
Big
compare
benefits.
the new model with old models, it will cheaper?
No.
No.
If you think about the new PCs with the current PCs, of course the new PCs will deliver much more value and will be slightly more expensive. But compared to running the AI application in the cloud,
Okay, I got
it's
it.
much cheaper.
Okay. Bill Gates once said, this is the powerful quote in history, a computer on every desk and in every home, supported by software of Microsoft. So do you think like that? I mean, every PC in the future on every desk will support and powered by AI.
I think the exciting thing about where we are is not anymore about every PC, which I agree is a PC not in every desk, is really used by every human in the planet. That should be our goal. But with AI, everything is going to become a computer. If you think about, we have a big business of headsets. Over time, we will be integrating AI in the headsets.
Okay.
So you will be able to interact with your headset, and your headset is going to become your personal advisor. Because you will have a question, you will want to make a decision, you will ask the question to the headset that you will have. So it's really, printers will have AI models running that will simplify the printing process. So every device is going to be an AI device, it's going to be a smart device, which eventually is a computer.
So you stay at the forefront of technology. Please tell us what the future looks like.
I think it's a very bright future. If we think about the opportunities that technology is going to have in the next 10, 20 years to simplify our lives, to make our lives more productive, we are going to see probably more changes in the next 10 years than we have seen in the last 30. And we have seen a lot of changes in the last 30 years. Just think about what AI will do is before you have to make any decision, you are going to have next to you the biggest expert in the topic you need to make a decision in the history of human being. You will, and the amount of the quality of the information you will be able to make, the speed at which you will be able to make is something unprecedented. So that's the power of what is going to happen in the next years that I don't think we still understand the magnitude of the impact this is going to have.
Okay, but when we talk about AI, I think somebody really scared of risk, right? You know, responsible AI is the hottest topic right now. So how do you balance between ethics and productivity or growth?
I think ethics is something that we always need to balance. And I think that we need to have a balanced use of technology and we need some regulation. But at the same time, I think it's really important that we are optimistic about the value that technology is going to have. If we were in the 1700s, 300 years ago, and we were talking to a farmer here in Thailand, and we would be telling this person, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, all the work that you do with your horse to cultivate your field is going to be done with a machine, with a robot. That person would be totally scared.
Right.
He will not even understand what we are talking about. We are facing something similar.
Okay.
When you look backward 300 years ago, we see the value this has created. Of course, there has been a lot of change.
Okay.
And I think what we have now is a bit of fear of the change that is coming. But we need to stay optimistic because the positive impact of this will significantly overcome the risk that, of course, that we see and, of course, we need to manage. But the balance is very, very different.
Okay, but given your analogy, what framework or what playbook should we teach our farmers, our workers right now? What is your internal playbook for your company?
I think there are multiple things that we need to care. One, for example, is how do we protect our own data? How do we protect our IP? And when I say our, I mean the IP that is generated by any of our customers. I think that's a very important framework because the limits of what you own, your company owns versus another company, if we are not careful, will be split. At the same time, we need to start looking at how to regulate the positive and the negative use of AI. Probably a better example is how do we regulate the use of nuclear power or nuclear energy. We have been able to build some organizations, international organizations that regulate that. We will need to build something equivalent, and there are many discussions that are happening. So there are frameworks for previous big technology disruptions that can be used. But again, we need to have in mind that the benefit is always much bigger than the risk. And in this case, I think we're talking too much about the risk, not enough about the value.
Sure. But building large language model is quite expensive, enormously expensive. Few players are doing this. So what is your AI approach, large language model approach? Do you build your own large language model?
I think building a generic model is very expensive. Training a generic model with your own data is not. And this is what companies are starting to do. They take a generic model, they take their own data, and privately they generate their own model that really creates value for them. That's something that needs to be done. This is something also that governments are starting to do, because one of the risks that we have is that if the models are developed all in one part of the world, those cultures will dominate the world.
Right.
So I think it's important that multiple countries with great and rich cultures develop their models, because this will be the way to preserve the culture. And this is something that is also being done, not everywhere, but it's starting to happen. So I think driving this more pervasive use of technology is going to be critical to make sure everybody can take advantage of the technology.
So can I assume that you are encouraging Thailand to build our own large language model?
In a very humble way, yes. Let me give an example. We are working with the government in Spain to develop their own model in Spanish, integrating all the Spanish culture.
Oh, really?
And we're working with them. In Spain, there is something called the National Library, where there are all the books published in the 1400s. So we're working with them to digitize them and to develop a model that will integrate that knowledge into the model. So I'm not familiar with what is happening in Thailand in that space, but this is definitely that they should be looking and considering doing.
Wow, interesting. So let's get back to business landscape. As you wish, AI PC will be on every desk, but it could be your rival. Dell, Lenovo, or even Apple. So what is your strategy?
Of course, we want the company that provides and that wins in this change. And there are many things we are doing to differentiate our solutions. One of them is security. For many years, security in our PCs, in our printers, has been one of the key differentiators for HP. And with AI, it's even more relevant because the need to protect the data is even bigger, and the need to protect the models is even bigger. Because if you have the model running in your PC, there is a lot of intellectual property in that model. So you don't want that model to be stolen. So protecting that model is really something critical that with both software and hardware solutions we are building and we are protecting. Another differentiator for us is going to be performance. We're working with all the key software vendors, silicon vendors, to integrate our solutions end-to-end to improve the performance that we provide. And finally, a big differentiator for us over the last years that will continue to be is our focus on sustainability. We think that both consumers and companies want to buy from brands that are doing the right thing for the planet. And we have a lot of focus in making sure we use sustainable materials, that our factories use sustainable energy, that our products are recyclable, that we invest in recycling programs, that we invest in programs to reduce digital equity, which we consider part of sustainability. And this is going to continue to be a big part of HP differentiation and what really makes the HP brand stand out.
Okay, amazing. So let's shift gears to printing industry.
Okay.
So for me as an outsider, I think people nowadays don't use paper as much anymore. So is printing business still a good business?
Printing is a very good business, and we see different trends in different categories and in different markets. In print, we see three major businesses. One is printing at home. So you have a printer at home and you used to print your photos. This business has been declining, and we think it will continue to decline. Second is printing in the office. And this business is actually flat because what we see is as the economy and the world continues to grow, more printers are bought because there are more companies and this drives growth. In some cases, people print less, but one thing compensates the other. And then the third big opportunity in printing is what we call industrial printing. It's about printing labels, printing packaging, printing wallpaper. That market is growing because usually this has been done using analog technologies that were invented 100 years ago, 200 years ago. On all that is going digital. Because if you do digital, you can reduce the time to create the campaigns, the time to create the new designs, and you can do personalization. So for example, you might be familiar with a campaign that Coke did where the cans had the name of the customers.
Oh yeah.
All this was done with our printers. Because we can personalize labels, so we can produce labels for Ken, labels for different individuals with their names, which makes your connection with the can different. And these are the type of things we see growing and enabling.
So industrial printing is a growth business for your opinion. เรื่องที่3เรื่องนี้ผมรู้สึกว่าเราคุยลึกเป็นพิเศษคือเรื่อง geopolitics เพราะว่าฐานการผลิตของ HP มีอยู่ในหลายประเทศนะครับทั้งบราซิลทั้งจีนและก็ที่ไทยด้วยนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเราจะคุยกันว่าไอ้ความเปลี่ยนแปลงของ geopolitics หรือว่าเรื่องของชิป semiconductor ที่ตอนนี้แข่งขันกันสูงมากเนี่ย HP เขามองยังไงเขา diversify นะครับเรื่องของ supply chain ยังไงและเขามองประเทศไทยเป็นฐานการผลิตที่สำคัญหรือเปล่าเราจะแข่งขันได้ไหมกับประเทศอื่นๆที่อยู่รอบข้างเราในภูมิภาคนี้ so can we talk about geopolitics
Of course.
It's really crucial right now and every CEO business owners even SME are talking about this topic what's your thought on this geopolitical tension right now how does it affect your business
I think we clearly live in a complicated world, a world also where change is constant and change is accelerating. And I think we need to design our companies, design our structures in a way that cope with the change that is happening and that allows us to continue to grow, to continue to succeed, no matter what changes happen. For example, one of the changes that we saw during COVID was that we needed to build a more resilient supply chain. That having all the factories located in a part of the world was too risky, and that we needed to balance in a different way cost and resiliency. And as a consequence of that, we have been looking at how to rebalance our supply chain to respond to that. That's something that we have started and we know we will continue to do in the coming years.
Okay. I heard that you have manufacturing operations in China. So how has it evolved? I mean, in the past decade that it's got really tension right now.
Well, first of all, China is and will continue to be a big manufacturing place for HP. And we manufacture a lot of our printers and a lot of our PCs. We have great suppliers, great partners, and we are really pleased with the work that we have there. But in line to what I was saying, we have learned that we need to diversify our supply chain to make it more resilient and also to respond to needs from local countries. There are countries that are asking now us to manufacture locally to be able to sell in the country. So as a consequence of that, we need to change and we are rebalancing our manufacturing footprint. And this is an area that because of which Thailand is becoming a much more relevant country for us.
Wow.
Because we have started to produce some of our PCs here in Thailand. We have been producing printers for a long time. And because of the success that we have in printers, we are now expanding it into PCs. So it's going to be a big benefit for Thailand as a country.
Okay, let's talk about Thailand later, but I would like to focus more on geopolitics. So I have to ask this question. It can be uncomfortable, but we would like to know, are you worried about in terms of privacy or security manufacturing in China? Because the US try to explain this issue a lot about data privacy.
We are not. We have been producing products in China for a very long time. We know how to manage our supply chain to make sure that it's secure and the content and the software is private. So this is not an issue that we see.
Okay, so let's move back to diversify portfolio, rebalance. How do you diversify? What is your strategy? What criteria? When you choose your manufacturing operations, like countries, what is your criteria?
I think it's a combination of multiple things. One thing is local and specific needs for a country. Let me give an example. Far from here, so Brazil.
Okay.
In order to sell products in Brazil, you need to manufacture locally. And therefore, Brazil is a big market. Brazil, there are big opportunities for there. So over the years, we have built a manufacturing capabilities in Brazil. Japan has different quality requirements at other countries in the world. So over the years, we have also expanded our manufacturing footprint in Japan. And then when we look at where do we diversify, we look at availability of talent. Are we going to be able to hire the people that will be able to complete the work? Is there a network of suppliers? Because at the end, our factories are not isolated, require suppliers that will sell us parts that will be integrating. So we need to look for countries or geographical areas where we can find the type of suppliers that will be working with us. And then finally, of course, is cost. Cost is an important factor, and it's cost both of labor, it's also cost of energy, and it's cost of transportation. Because no matter where we build our factory, we will have to ship product to many different parts of the world, and therefore minimizing distribution cost is also very important.
Oh, thank you for your insight. I'm speaking on behalf of Thai people. So what are you looking for in this region? Can we attract more of your investment?
I think you can, and in fact you are getting that. And a big part of it is driven by the success we have had over the years building printers in Thailand. The quality has been great, the cost has been great. Transportation cost, Thailand is very well connected, both by air and by sea, so this helps to expand. So when we look at where to build PCs, having a positive experience on printers makes it easier to expand.
So that's a good news.
These are very good news.
Are you expanding investment in Thailand?
We have been.
Can you announce this news?
I'm not sure if it is an announcement because it has been happening already for a few months, but we expanded our manufacturing capabilities of PCs.
Okay.
And for the last several months, we have been producing PCs here in Thailand.
Wow.
For the rest of the world, and now we will start selling in Thailand very soon.
Okay. To give our audience some context, in the past decade, Thailand aims to become a high-income country. A focus on technological advancement, something like that. And I think as a major player in this global technology, how can Thailand compete with other countries in this region like Vietnam? I know this is a tough question, but we're talking a lot about the competition in this region, and we would like to attract more and more, and we would like to invite you as a global tech company to invest in Thailand, and we can be a partner.
I think in the long term, in the long run, is driven by the three things I mentioned before. We need to make sure the people are trained and are capable of building the products that we'll need. So
quality workforce.
Quality of the workforce is very important. Quality of suppliers, because we need to build big manufacturing plants. We need to make sure we have a close by suppliers that will be able to deliver. And this is also driven by having multiple different industries that come, because suppliers are going to be looking to serve multiple industries. And the third one is cost. cost of manufacturing, cost of energy, cost of transformation, and also how the government is helping on these initiatives. When the three things happen is when big manufacturing growth happens.
Thank you. So can we talk about semiconductor? Semiconductors are very crucial in technology right now. And so can you paint a picture of the current situation in semiconductor landscape right now?
I think we are in a very different situation than we were 2 or 3 years ago, when
really?
we had shortages in terms of components and availability issues across the board. I think in the majority of the cases, if not in all cases, I think the situation has been totally normalized.
Oh, okay.
I think we have availability of all type of components that we need, probably with the exception of super high-end AI chips, but this is not a space where we participate. So I think the situation has been addressed, and it's another area where a lot of diversification is happening, where many factories are being built in many parts of the world, in the US, in Europe, in other parts of Asia. So I think all the issues we saw during the last 2 years, I think are really behind us.
Few players in this sector, such as your partner, NVIDIA, AMD, TSMC, control the entire system. So do you see this as a challenge? I mean, there's only a few players.
I don't think it's because there are few players. It's just because the most advanced technology is only available to few companies that have been able to invest over the last years. But I think the number of competitors is large enough, so there is enough competition, so they keep pushing each other to make sure that the technology keeps advancing. So I think we are in a good position, and again, if I think about the innovation that is coming, I think it's the reflection of a fairly healthy business.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's get back to your company philosophy, your company culture.
Okay?
How do you stay innovative? I mean, HP has a long history, and it comes to me that when you get bigger and bigger, you became like a giant. You became like an elephant. But how can elephant dance? How do you stay competitive?
I think there are two things that is important never to lose. One is deep understanding of where technology is going. Because if you understand where technology is going, you can start thinking how to use that technology to address the second thing, which is understand what customers need before they do. And when you understand how technology is going to be able to solve a problems that customers have before customers can tell you, when you operate in that intersection is when you can really innovate and create new ideas. And this is what we try to do in the company. Continue to invest in new technologies, stay very close to where innovation is happening, and at the same time understand very well what are the problems of our customers. And this is why I was saying before that the opportunity that we see is in addressing this tension between companies that want to improve, increase productivity, and employees that want more flexibility. That tension is creating a lot of opportunities for us to innovate.
Okay, so as a leader, how do you foster the culture of innovation?
I think is by making sure that the team stay focused on both things. Understanding our customers very well, understanding what they really do, also understanding what is happening in universities with new technologies, understanding what is happening in small startups, understanding what our competitors are doing. That understanding of customers and technology is critical. We were talking before about changes that have happened in the last 60 years. If I think about how innovation was done 40 years ago, all big companies like HP used to have big internal innovation centers. This has changed, and we continue to have them, but now it's much more important to be close to what is happening in universities, what is happening in startups, to have investment funds in the company, investing in small companies, because a lot of innovation is happening now in many different parts of the world by smaller companies, and staying very well connected to those is as important as maintaining large internal R&D organizations.
Wow. As a CEO, how do you keep learning all the time? What is your priorities in your daily life?
I think learning is actually one of them, and one of the big benefits of my job is that I have a big opportunity of meeting a lot of very interesting people. Anywhere in the world I go, I will always find interesting people that I can always learn
So you love
from.
meetings?
So I love meetings, I love interactions, but it's not only from them. I learn a lot when I come to Thailand, and today I spend time with customers, with partners, with our employees, learning, listening, how they explain about what is happening in the country with their companies is a great way of learning. I learn a lot from the people in the company. There are always super smart people that knows many more things than I do about multiple topics, and I learn from. I like reading a lot. I always try to read one or two books. So just by staying informed and seeing what happens around, I think is critical. And I consider learning as one of the key things of my job.
So what have you learned so far in Thailand?
In Thailand?
You visit in Thailand.
I have learned about a country with a very positive attitude, with a lot of positive energy, a country that believes that has a big opportunity to have a more relevant presence in the world. And it has been a very good day and a half in Thailand.
What about Thai food? Do you like Thai food? Have you tried?
I have tried, and I was telling the team yesterday, they are now in the number one position in terms of food in the world. So
Oh, really?
I really enjoyed the Thai
Above
food.
Spanish food, right?
Even Spanish food. And it's very hard to say it.
Okay. I agree with you. So
It's very good food.
last question.
Please.
What is the most important leadership skill that you think every leader should learn in the future, because we are living in a complex world, uncertain world?
I'm going to give you 4, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
I think number 1 is, I think we need to make sure that our teams are not limited by what they think they can do or by what they can do, they know what to do today, are really limited by the vision that they create. Because I think we really need to be driven by our imagination, not by what we think we can do. That's a very, very important thing. Second, I think that we need to treat everybody with respect, because I believe everybody comes to work trying to do the best thing, but at the same time we need to be very demanding to make sure that they deliver the best that they can, and that we do everything that is necessary to make that possible. And I summarize this in a short sentence, which is, we need to be soft on people, but tough on problems.
Oh, wow, I love that.
That sentence, I think that's really important. Third is, I think we need to make sure that we stay true to the values and to who we want to be. And that how things are done is as important as what we do. And that each of us have a set of values in terms of how we want to behave as individuals, as companies, and we need to make sure that our companies behave according to that. And then last thing is, we need to be optimistic. I think nobody wants to follow a leader that is pessimistic, that thinks the sky is going to fall and the future is going to be much worse than is today. A big part of our role is to think about a positive future and show our teams how to get there.
Okay.
And this optimism is really critical.
Thank you. My last question. What keeps you up at night?
I think multiple things. I think when you're running a company like us, is making sure that we stay true to the 4 things that I mentioned, that we have a strong aspiration of what we want to do, that we move fast to achieve that everybody understands the roles that we have. And also as a leader, I see my role as making sure that the teams have the tools and the processes that they need to get there. And I'm obsessed always with make sure I do anything I can to make sure they get whatever they need to get where we think the company should be going.
Thank you so much.
No,
It's
thank
been
you.
a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you.